It's a Husqvarna Model 41, and today I'm going to put a new clutch housing in that I got, and also the oil pump that lubricates the chain. I am not getting any oil to the chain, so I ordered both of these. The first thing I did was took the cover off, took the spark plug out, and put a rope, brought this to top dead center. You can just pull the rope, the pull start, and you'll see the screwdriver will come up or go down, and you can get the piston up just before top dead center. And then I stuffed this nylon rope in there, and the reason I did that you'll see in just a little bit. I also, while I had it apart, just cleaned the air filter, just 2 screws taken off here. That pulls right off, and I blew it out with my air compressor. Keep that clean. I'm going to take the brake and this side cover off. I actually already loosened the nuts. There's 2 of them. Set that aside. And the chain bar, pull that off and set that aside. And you want to keep, see that dirt in that little hole there? You want to keep those clean. And I will blow that out. Actually, it's here. I'll blow that out. And there's one on that side. The oil runs through the pump and into this. It runs through a line and into this seam here, which takes it into that little hole and lubricates the chain that way. So I set that aside. Pull the chain off. And I made this little tool out of an old chain bar I had. I just drilled a couple holes, put a couple bolts and nuts through there, and you can see that it fits. It'll fit in these 2 grooves here, so I can unscrew it. And the reason I put the rope in there is so that it holds the piston, that the crankshaft doesn't turn when I turn that. The clutch is in here. So I will press this in, lock it in, and this, usually it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. On this one it's just the opposite. So you have to turn clockwise to loosen it, and counterclockwise to tighten it. Now I can pull the clutch out. You don't want to touch this with your greasy fingers. It causes it to slip. And then the housing that I told you I need to change. There's a washer in there also that'll need to come out. I'll just pull the whole thing out. You want to keep the parts together. That washer was there, and you can see how the gears, the teeth on that have worn from the chain, and that happens over time. There's a little needle bearing, and the new parts that I have the new needle bearing comes with the clutch housing, but I will have to reuse these 2 washers. So I'll keep all these things in order so I know how to put it all back together again. And then I'll take this plate here off. This is the pump is underneath this cover, and I'll need to take these 2 screws out. This screw out. I'll pull this plate off and pull the pump out, and I'll show you the new pump I got here. This is the new pump. sits in there like this over the crankshaft. You can see there's just some plastic teeth in there, and I assume when I get in there that these teeth are going to be worn, and it comes pre-greased. You can see the little hole that it pumps through. So that's what I'll be putting on, and then I'll show you the new housing also. There's the new bearing, and see how the teeth are nice on that. That's what I'm going to be installing. Want to keep all that clean. So I'll pull this screw out, set it aside, take these two screws out, set them aside. Sometimes this little plate can be a little hard to pull off. The oil runs through the pump, and you'll see here up this little channel, and it comes out here and goes into that little weep hole that I told you about, which lubricates the chain. So you don't want to bend this, because the top of this lays right up against that channel and channels the oil through to there. So I'll clean that. So I'll pull this off. It's just the oil pumps out, and definitely the problem is the gear. The plastic gear is shot, so we'll replace that. Next thing you want to do is take your compressed air and blow. There's a little channel hole that goes to the tank for the chain bar oil, and you want to take your compressed air and blow that out. Of course, you need to drain your tank first and keep the cover off while you do that, and I've done that. Now that everything's cleaned up, I'll put the new pump in. It just slides over like that. And you want to clean this up. We'll blow that out. And set that back in place. It snaps in there. Wipe the cover off. Get the dirt and grime out. Put that back in place. Make sure it's on snug. Pressed in. Put your screws back in. Put the new housing in. First I'm going to put a little grease on here. You don't want to put much on there because you don't want it oozing out and getting on your clutch. Okay, I got the housing back on, the bearing lubricated, the washer's in order, clutch back in, tightened it down, pulled the string out, put the spark plug back in, connect the spark plug, and I'm going to go and fill it with gas and bar chain oil and start it like this and make sure that I get oil coming out of there when it's running before I finish putting it together. Put the cover back on before I start it, because the throttle won't work properly. It'll pop out, and so you need to put this cover on before you go ahead and try to start it. See if you have the oil pump working properly. Repair's done, and now I'm going to run a test, make sure that the oil pump's working, and then show you how it cuts a log. So we'll test it out. You'll be looking for a mark of oil here first, spitting off the chain as I run the chainsaw. Works good.